Hello everyone, and welcome back to Kizzy Plays Rimworld. So the past couple of days I've been going through the list that I talked about in my last video, and I found a couple games that I will unfortunately not be recording and uploading for you guys, but this is our next stop here, Rimworld. So this game is a colony simulator. I think that's what it's called. You have to build like a base and protect yourselves from threats, and the ultimate goal is to escape the Rimworld. There's a couple ways to do that, and I think in the newest DLC, the Ideology DLC, you could just opt for Total Planet Takeover, I believe. I'm not too sure. I haven't seen the ending yet for the new DLC. But I think that's what one of my goals are going to be for this series, is to win by using, they call it the Arco Nexus, but we'll get into that later. So before we start here, there's quite a bit of setup to the beginning of the game, just to sort of customize how you want to play. And I'll be trying to skip over most of it. I will explain sort of what's happening and show you guys sort of the basic outline that we'll be playing with, but one thing I will show very quickly is the mods that I'm using. I won't talk about them. They're mostly quality of life things. If they're ever used while I'm playing the game, I will probably mention it if I can remember that it's a mod feature, not actually in the game. Yeah, most of these mods are just quality of life things. I will not be using these mods because they're sort of cheaty mods that I just play with from time to time just to have a little bit of fun, you know? And yeah, so that's the list. Again, I'm not going to post it or anything because it's not worth it. If you guys want to know the mods, they're right there. But yeah, so let's start a new colony here. I've already set up a pre-made scenario here, which we'll just look at really quickly. There's a mod that I'm using that's basically, it's going to make it so that we start the game with no research done whatsoever. And I'll show you what that means when we get into the game. We will have 3 starting colonists and just some basic supplies. We will not have, I forgot to get rid of that. We will not have packaged survival meals because we don't need them. And we'll talk about it a little bit later, but I forced every pawn. They're called pawns, the people. You'll see that in a bit. I forced every pawn in the game to have the industrious trait, just to make it a little bit more interesting. It sort of fits the playthrough I'm going to be going for, which is basically modified humans. So I'll talk about that in a little bit, what that means, but yeah. So I feel like that's fair to have. And I'll talk more about the trait a little bit later. But this is the scenario we're going to be starting with. And so the next thing we have to do is set up our game. So I'm going to be doing adventure story with reload anytime. The reload anytime is just because it's helpful for recording. I shouldn't have to use this at all, really, ever, but just in case something happens, it will just be useful for me, so that's why I won't be doing commitment mode, and we'll be doing adventure story just because I like to sort of sit back and build my city. Plus, in order to get the ending I want, which is with the Arco Nexus, I have no idea what I'm doing in order to get that ending, and so adventure story just helps me, you know, figure that out while not being slammed with absolutely impossible stuff. And we'll be going with Cassandra just because I'm more comfortable with her than I am with Randy Savage. If you guys have no idea what I'm talking about, that's okay. That's just with the game. So we will be creating a globe here, 100% coverage. I'm going to take down the population 1 tick and increase the rainfall by 1 tick. And as for the seed, it could be literally whatever, but I think I'm going to go with just off the top of my head. And the last thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to get rid of the insect gene line, mostly because I find myself sometimes when I build my colony, I want to build into mountains, and I hate having to deal with infestations when I'm building inside a mountain. So just in case that's what we go with, I just want to get rid of this. That doesn't mean we won't encounter insects at all. It just means that we won't be getting infestations. And you could call it, cheap, whatever. I find they're more annoying than they are worth the threat that they give off. And so it'll take a little bit here to generate the world, and I guess I will return when it's done. All right. So the world here has loaded finally, and I've just taken a moment to search around the globe to figure out where I want to start my first colony. And I've picked out this spot here, mainly because it has marble and slate, but also because it has a year-round growing cycle and the average temperature of 16 degrees, which is, it's probably one of the best zones you could play this game on, just purely because weather isn't really much of an issue when you play in a location like this. You don't have to worry about winter cycles or much like that. The only things that will really affect us is events that trigger weather, like cold snaps and whatnot. But I can't remember if cold snaps can trigger in temperate forest. I don't know. The reason why I wanted marble and slate is just because it's my personal favorite stone types to work with. They're like the opposite of the color spectrum, white and black. All the other stone types are kind of ugly in my opinion. There are certain stone types you would want over others. Like, for example, you'd want maybe sandstone if you want a very quick building material, but it's not going to be much of an issue for us, so in the end, it doesn't really matter what stone types you use. It's just these are my personal favorites. The only thing bad about this spot is that we are quite far away from any sort of other city or civilization that we could interact with. However, we do have this road here that we could potentially take advantage of should we ever want to interact with any of these places. Much like the Empire here, maybe. We will see. So the next thing I will do here is I'm going to put the largest map size, just because then we'll have more resources to work with, which is always nice. And I believe that is everything. So let's go to the next part, which is figuring out our ideologion. I have already made a customized ideologion for what we're playing with here. Whoops, I guess, can we look at it? We can. So I'm going to be doing a transhumanist playthrough, which basically their fundamentals is make a human as close to a robot as possible. You take advantage of things like quicker sleeping machines and things that increase their cognizance, which is something that affects all aspects of gameplay. We'll get into that more as we see that it's more relevant, but for now just know that this is what we're playing with, is transhumanist. For those of you who are confused, who haven't played this game before, just don't pay much mind to all this. It will get explained as it becomes more relevant. And for those of you who have played this game before, I'm just going through this just so that maybe in case you want to play along, this is what I'm running with here. So as for our precepts here, we just have the ones that we have to have, which is the biosculpting and whatnot. And then I just changed insect meat from despise to love, just because we won't be finding insects all that much anyway. So the little bit of food that they will give us, it doesn't really change all that much. So other than that, I've made cannibalism a little acceptable, just because it fits sort of the machine idea, I suppose. I don't know. It's just how I feel about it. Mild bigotry, just because my goal is to convert everyone to this ideal Legion, so mild bigotry, just so that in case we do get somebody else, it'll affect our gameplay. But yeah, mostly everything here is just to fit sort of the idea I'm going with here. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. The one thing I will mention is that I will be probably using nutrient paste for meals for pretty much the whole game as soon as I can get them. And yeah. And so now I will have to create my pawns here, which I am using prepare carefully, which will help me sort of make the pawns that I want to fit the game I'm sort of making here a lot easier. It'll help me make the pawns a lot faster rather than sitting here hitting randomize until I finally find one that I want. So it'll take me a little bit to create these characters, so I guess I will be back when I'm done that. Okay, welcome back. This took a little bit longer than I thought it would. But here we are. So I have my 3 characters made here, and I'm just gonna really quickly run through what they got and explain why they have them. First thing I have here is Makise Kurisu. If you guys know who that's from, shout out to you. She is going to be our doctor slash researcher of the colony. As you've noticed, I've given her all great traits, and as well as a couple of implants that also improve her. Seeing how the theme for my colony is going to be these transhumanists, these people who want to get body modifications as such, I feel like it's only fitting that I give each of these guys at least something. But these are more than something. These are like great modifications that really improves the pawn. Same with the traits. The traits are all really good, and that's the same for all 3. The balance to that is that I'm going to be starting with no research at all, so that's the counterbalance. And the other counterbalance is that all the pawns are going to have next to nothing in all of their stats except for what they specialize in. And the things that they specialize in are going to be double passion. But other than medical and research, this pawn is going to be awful at everything. However, with the fast learner and learning assistant, this pawn in particular should be alright. In the end, they're probably going to be one of our most important pawns late game. Early game, they're going to be, and just research and medical. So that's what their focus is, and even their their backstory is focused right around that. And the only stats that they have is because of their backstory, and that's the same thing for all 3 of these pawns. So our next pawn here is going to be our melee leader slash social guy. So anytime we capture a pawn and want to make them a prisoner or make them a colonist or whatever, this is the guy that's going to be doing it. He's also going to be our trading guy. So he's basically our leader for the colony. He's going to be super good at fighting and super good at social aspects, but everything else he's awful at. And he doesn't have fast learner or the learning assistant to make the stats any better. So he's going to be doing a lot of the grunt work, but he's going to be awful at it. He has probably the most out of all of the characters here, just because I wanted to give him the best melee setup you could realistically expect in a game really early, and I'm really curious to see what happens. The only thing I didn't give him was like a melee weapon prosthetic. I just want to see how well he tanks, I'm curious. And so our last guy here is just going to be our plant slash cooking guy. So that means we have no construction, no mining, and no animal caretaker or, crafting slash artist in our colony. So a lot of the very grunt work kind of stuff and, crafting and art is going to be awful in our colony. So our weapons are going to be awful to begin with. Our buildings are going to be difficult to make. We're not going to have tons of mining resources because our mining is awful. So we have some pretty big downfalls here to begin with, but I feel like, I I feel like it's justified considering we're giving our pawns such big boons here in their traits and their prosthetics. So this guy, again, he's going to be our cook. I've given him the gastro analyzer. He's also got a reprocessor stomach, so he doesn't have to eat as much. And I've also given them the field hand just so that he, you know, it fits his plants thing. So, and yeah, and again, everyone here is going to have industrious for their traits. Same thing with everyone we meet, just because I feel like it fits with the transhumanist thing. And I've never sort of done a playthrough with Industrious before, because normally the way Industrious works is that every pawn that has it has a negative mood towards any pawn that doesn't have the Industrious trait, so I'm curious just to see how everything works out here. But yeah, other than that, I've given my pawns a clean slate on their relationships, and again, their equipment is just the basic starting materials. So we're going to have a lot of work cut out for us here, but this is what we're going to be starting with. So let's click start here. It's going to take us a second to load the map, so I guess I'll be back once it's loaded. Okay, so we've loaded in here. Now, before I even get started, there's a few things I need to talk about here. First thing is that I do have DevTools on. It's purely just for recording purposes. Like, in case something happens, the DevTools are useful just for me personally. I'm not going to use them to cheat in any way. You have my word on that. The next thing I need to do here is just take a look at what we got going on. I'm looking for if we have any like exposed ancient dangers right here. Again, this is the largest map that you can get, so we should have one, probably two ancient dangers on the map, although it might be difficult to see. We do have gold. We should have at least one of every mineable resource as well exposed on the map. I don't really see our ancient dangers, which is kind of interesting. Was it silver? Yeah. The next thing I want to talk about is I have map edit. Again, this is purely just as a recording tool. It's not going to be used for cheating in any way. We have quite a bit of rich soil over here, which is really nice. Although we have some stony soil in the middle here, which is kind of not nice, but... So I don't know where my ancient dangers are yet. I'm sure I'll come across them as we get playing. I'm just taking a quick scan here. The next thing I want to do is that I have a mod that allows you to move steam geysers in this game. Just because it's again, it's a quality of life thing. It could be seen as cheaty because it allows me to put natural generators, or what are they called? Steam generators, literally anywhere I want them. I have 15 on this map. Wow. But again, it's meant for like a design purpose. This playthrough is not supposed to be something that's brutally difficult. Like, I'm not going to be going against 500% Randy Savage here. I'm just purely playing this just to see. My goal is to get the Arco Nexus ending, so that's basically going to be my entire focus for this playthrough. So we have that. The next thing I want to do is I want to locate all my resources. I'm pretty sure that's all the wood that we should have on the map, but we might have more. Let's see. Yes, it is all the wood that we have to start with. Those are the components. I'm pretty sure we shouldn't have any more components other than those. However, steel, I think there is multiples of on this map, so I'm just going to quickly grab all the steel that's floating around and allow it. Okay. So our starting area looks like it'll be right here. We have a bit of water here, which I don't like. We have a bit of a mountain here, and we have rich soil, like a big patch of rich soil over here, which I am thankful for, because rich soil helps out a lot. And so yeah, the first thing I need to do here before we hit play is I need to figure out what everyone's work schedule is going to be. So first things first, I put everything on 1 here, bed rest at 1, our doctor, I think I put on 1, hall plus I put on 2, basic I keep at 3, our warden 2, everyone should have, oh no, because we don't have anyone who has animals really, so I will have to figure out who's going to be the handler later. Same thing with Hunter. Cook at 2. Everyone's on construction. Everyone is on growing. The only person who's going to be plant cutting is our Soma guy here. Oh yeah, I forgot to talk about the names. I guess we'll look at that once they get here. But I have Samson from a game that I've played, and I have Soma from an anime, which maybe you guys will get, maybe you won't. Shout out to those who do. Everyone will be on mine. And I don't have anyone really for the arts, tailoring, or smithing. And I have a mod that gets rid of all dirt in the game. Just, here's why, okay? I find that, especially in the late game, I have to have like 3 pawns dedicated to cleaning, and that's all they do, or else people's moods get to just absolutely destroyed by the beauty factor of the place. So I got a mod that gets rid of all dirt. I'm sorry if you think that's cheating, but I just don't want to deal with it, okay? And of course our research last. And our schedule I want to change really quick, just so that they sleep while it's nighttime and wake while it's daytime. Assignments, okay, as for food, let's first change that. Herbal medicine. Who's our doctor again? Christina. Okay, so you will carry 1 herbal medicine. We'll obviously have to grab some from the wildlife around here, which I think there's some here. But we'll get to that a little bit later. So our drug policies. Okay, let's delete everything that we're not using. Set this to no drugs for everybody. And then, yeah, like that. We'll change drug policy. I do plan on using drugs at some point, but I'm only going to be using safe drugs. I have a mod that allows us to grow and harvest ambrosia. That'll be one of the drugs we use. We're going to be using psychite tea, and obviously we're going to be using the penoxycyline that's in the game. As for other drugs, I think that's the only 3 we're going to be using. The rest we're going to be probably selling. And I think that's it. And as for animals, we don't have an animal yet, but I will rename it just in case we do at some point, which we probably will, but... So we'll obviously set up those areas once we actually get animals. I think that's everything. So as you can see, we start with absolutely 0 research at all. Because we are starting as a new arrival start and not a tribal start, our research isn't doubled, so electricity is only 1600 instead of 3200, thankfully. But we do start with nothing. Normally, you do start with at least a couple. Even if you're playing tribal, you normally start with like passive cooler and a couple of these beginning ones. New arrivals, you definitely normally start with electricity, so we obviously have to rush for a couple of things here because we will want a freezer as soon as possible, but that's not going to be our focus right away here. We have a steam geyser literally right there, which is nice. So yeah, I think we've set up everything here. The next thing I need to do is what I'm going to be focusing on. So this first day here, we focus on 3 things. Firstly, setting up sleeping quarters for our colonists here, our pawns. Secondly, setting up a storage for all our resources so that they don't decay, like the components and wood here. They will decay if we don't put them underneath a roof at some point. And the last thing we need to do, I'm trying to think. There's 3 things. So houses, the storage. Setting up growing zones, I think. You know, we have to get food set up like right away. Let's just take a look at our tab here. Fueled stove, that's okay. Sorry, there's normally 3 things that I do right off the bat, but I forget what they are. That's the last thing. I think it's just setting up a growing zone for food. But those are the 3 things that you have to get done, like day 1, is that you have to set up a sleeping place for everybody. And then setting up storage and all that good stuff. So, before we press play here, I think I'm going to set up a little stockpile zone, which I will set up the zone first for our stuff. I'm not sure how big to build it. I've miscalculated how big to put my beginning stockpile zones before. So, I have to rename it. So this will be shelter. It's not going to be my freezer. It will turn into our sheltered storage eventually, though. But for now, I guess it'll just hold everything. I also have a mod that moves our anima tree, because as you can see, it's right in the middle of this corner here, which is quite far away. The problem with the mod that moves the anima tree, though, is that as soon as I go to move this and relocate it somewhere else, another anima tree will pop up, so we'll end up with 2 anima trees on the map. I will not be moving this anima tree until I absolutely have to, which shouldn't be for a while, because I think I am going to be siding with the Empire in this story. So let's finish getting this set up here. Where's the zone? So very quickly do that, put down doors here. And then put a roof over the place. And that should be good. Just in case it's not, I will put a column down. Just in case the roof decides it wants to collapse, so. That should be it. So for now, everything will just be stockpiled here. I will get a freezer eventually, and then we'll obviously take stuff out of here. And so let's press play and let these guys get started on that. We might have to tell them to chop down some trees too. So all of our ponds here have 0 construction. So, oh no, we do have a guy that has 2 construction. So hopefully they don't botch their construction too badly. And I guess while they're doing that, we can plan out our next thing here. So we need to get them beds like right away. I think I'm going to put them already? You're kidding me, right? Okay, let me finish my thought here. So I think I'm going to put their beds up here for now. And the rooms, I usually only make them 5x3. Like the interiors are 5x3. That should be enough room for them. And then obviously there's going to be a wall here. So we might as well make a room with 4, like a building with 4 bedrooms in it. Although I did already screw this up. Whoops. So there's a wall here, a wall there, and then a wall here. Okay. So one of these rooms are going to be empty, obviously. Well, we have lovers, so I actually have to make a building with a double bed in it. Which I guess we could plan that out right now. Question is, do I want to put it up here more? Let's put it right here. Well, no, because there's stones there. I don't want to have them hauling all of those. So let's put it here. So I think the room I make is 4 wide. Let's see. So an end table there, the double bed here, a dresser here, or maybe end table here, double bed there, a dresser there, and then a little entrance area. Sure. So let's see here. Who are our new lovers? We have Christina and Soma. Jesus. The 2 anime characters, of course. So Soma Yukihira, we can actually see the names now. We have Weiss Ergo, nicknamed Samson. And we have Makise Kurusu, nicknamed Christina. So if you guys get those references, shout out to you. For having such a wide knowledge. So we have berries. Oh, that's the next thing we need. We need to harvest some berry bushes. That's our 3rd thing. I forgot about that. Just so that we have some food. Because again, we started with no packaged survival meals. Just to help balance our beginning here. So yeah, we could press play and have them finish this construction, I guess. So there's going to be a lot of dead time in this series. This first day, I will probably show all of it just to sort of show you guys how I play this game. But there's going to be a lot of dead time where all it's really doing is just constructing and doing miscellaneous things. So there's going to be quite a bit of cuts I will be making in these videos while we play, but don't worry, this series will probably still end up being a long one. Wow, this guy's taken forever to cut this tree down. That's probably because you're not our plants guy. Sweet. But yeah, so I'm feeling good about this game, actually. I feel like this is something I am going to want to record and make a whole series out of. The other games I've checked out already on that list, by the way, that I told you guys about. I've checked out Overlord 2. And I can't record that just because it's too laggy for me. I don't know what happened. Last time I played that game, I played it without any issues really, but for whatever reason, it's lagging now when I try to play it. I don't know. I'll try to look into it some more, but for now, I'm going to shelf that game. And the other game I looked into was Final Fantasy VIII. And the reason I'm not going to be doing a series on that is just because there's a certain way I want to play it. And the way I want to play it is super grindy and super annoying to record and make videos out of. So I think I'm going to just shelve that one too. I might return to that game like way in the future, maybe. I doubt it, but... But yeah, those are the 2 games I've checked out so far, and those are the games I'm not going to be doing series on for the foreseeable future anyway. How are we doing here? Do we have enough wood for all this stuff? I guess maybe not. We have 150 there. They're taking quite a while to chop these trees, probably because they have no skill. I have another mod, by the way, that makes it so that our experience doesn't drain over time. Again, probably another cheaty mod, but I just feel like it doesn't make a lot of sense for your skills to drain over time. I don't know, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so that's why I have that mod. It takes so long to get a pawn to level 20, and once you get a pawn to level 20, their experience drain rate is so quick that you're not level 20 for very long. Like, you'll find that the next day they'll be at level 19. It's like, okay, well then what's the purpose of having a level 20 skill, right? So, yeah, that's just where I am with that. So once pawns get to level 20, they're permanently level 20, unless they die or something. Yeah. So that's that. This guy's going to be level 11 forever until he gets to level 12. And I feel like that's fair. It takes so long to level up skills, specific skills anyway, that I feel like it's fair enough, you know? So yeah, we will have these sheltered. Luckily, berries don't decay quickly. They last quite a while. So we shouldn't need a freezer immediately. It would be nice to get one, though. Just so that we can start actually farming plants. This is almost built here, so once they're done that, I'm going to need them to immediately start these rooms here. Let's see. Furniture. So I don't have complex furniture yet. So the best we have is sleeping spots. Is that? No, that's not the right way. This is the right way. Okay, so we have their sleeping spots. These rocks are going to be annoying, but I can't exactly deal with them right now, so we're just going to forget that they exist. Okay, I think I did this wrong, but that's okay. Okay, so that looks like it's about right. And then I don't think I will do floors yet, just because we don't have a lot of wood and I want them to have these buildings set up before nighttime. So let's just put a roof over these bad boys. And once we research complex furniture, we'll obviously create some beds for them. Normally in this beginning game, if you have no research, but you have someone who can hunt, you just have people hunt some of these smaller animals and you get up enough leather to just make some bedrolls. But obviously we don't have a person who has hunting at all, so... So yeah, I think that's all our focus is going to be. When they get hungry, they'll hopefully harvest these bushes and eat the berries. Oh, they're getting their recreation. So another mod I have here, by the way, is this medical care tab. This is just to help me visualize. Okay, they can tend to themselves. Just visualize their just what's going on with them. It gives me a lot of information just at the tab instead of having to go deep into their health tab here. It allows me to see their percentages. Like this person has a 112% metabolism because they have the reprocessor stomach. This person has 85% moving because they have the stone skin gland. But obviously that's counterbalanced by their jogger trait, which for some odd reason doesn't show up. So yeah, I guess these guys are gonna go do their break. I guess that's another thing I could set up is just a horseshoe pin. Just in case they want to do that. I think, let's see. Dexterity play. Train shooting skills. Okay, so the horseshoe pin will also increase these guys' shooting skills over time. Slowly, but they'll do it. So they're very close to getting our stockpile done here. Just need one more wall. And then I believe we can hold these open. Just that they don't slow down. And it'll still be treated as indoor. So we're going to have to chop down all these trees to make up. So I don't think we'll get these buildings done by nighttime. Just because they have to chop down all these trees to get the wood to make these places. But we should have, which I think is okay, because I think they have very low expectations. So they can take a little bit of hits to their mood, like sleeping outdoors and on the floor. But we will obviously want to fix that as soon as possible. So yeah, anyways, as we're playing here, let me know what you guys think of this game. This is obviously the very early stages. If there's anything you guys need me to explain, I will hopefully get around to doing that in the future episodes. But yeah, it's a pretty fun game actually. I like it a lot. I've been getting into it quite a bit recently. Mainly because of the new Ideology DLC, but yeah. Oh, they didn't finish. They didn't finish making that wall, which is kind of annoying. Should maybe get someone here to work on these trees, just so that we have wood. And hopefully they finish this goddamn wall. Thank God. So I think this is, yeah, it's treated as indoors now. I'll make him work on these trees just so that these guys don't have to sit here and do it. So as these pawns do cut down trees, they are gaining experience, so they will slowly start to get faster at it. And same thing with construction, like this pawn here is already level 1. Which will be nice. And I think the reason why this pawn is already level 1 in construction and already almost level 1 in plants is just because of their fast learner and their learning assistant. Okay, you're going to move the steel. Which is fine. The steel can go outdoors. I have 3 stockpiles that I make at the beginning. One of them's outdoors. The unsheltered storage, which we're not going to make right now. We'll do that in the future. But it's just to hold stuff like steel that just will never deteriorate no matter what. And then I have a freezer, which is for all the perishable stuff like food and plants and whatnot. And then obviously the sheltered storage to hold stuff like components, which already took a little bit of damage, god damn it. It's already getting close to nighttime. Hopefully they won't be able to finish these buildings. I should get you to harvest these. Because for some reason you're just not, and you need to. Okay. So every 10 berries is enough for a pawn to eat once, like you know how you saw Christina eat some berries there? So she ate 10 berries there. So we obviously want them in groups of 10. Oh yeah, they can only pick up 75 items at a time. I used to play with a mod that gave the trait godlike, and it does a whole bunch of stuff, but one of the things it can do is it can give pawns the ability to carry up to like 500 items or something like that. Okay, I need you to eat. And so yeah, that's pretty much what the first day is. Normally I play with tribalism. And the reason why is just because you get more pawns to begin with, but you also take twice the amount of time to research things. But I find that research speed isn't really that important, unless you're trying to get things right off the bat like electricity. But yeah, I usually play with tribes, and you get 2 more pawns when you do tribalism, and normally that's enough to get the buildings done and plan out, you know, some plants that you could start growing, but Oh, looks like they might be going to sleep here, yeah. Once you see the names pop up on the sleeping spots, that's when you know it's done. But yeah, so that's the first day. Not really a whole lot going on, but obviously as this playthrough starts to pick up, I will start making cuts and we'll start speeding things up a little bit. But that's just to introduce you guys to the game. So far, our pawns are quaint. They aren't comfortable, but they will survive. And yeah, so anyways, I think that's going to be where I wrap up the episode for today. Again, let me know what you guys think. If you have any suggestions for me regarding this game, whether you guys want to suggest mods for me to use or something like that, I will look into them. I doubt I will be adding any mods or taking away any mods. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, anything to say at all, let me know in the comments, and that'll be it. I will probably not be doing outros like this for most of the series, but just for this specific one episode, I will. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Oh, we need to name this thing. Bop, bop, but boopy. No, that's not. Machinations, I think it'll be. Cool. Save. Alright. Take care, guys.